Happy Mother's Day, everyone. And this podcast is being released on Mother's Day in honor of all you mothers out there, including my mother, who I'm taking to SNEC, and Jenny Tong's mother, who founded SNEC. And Jenny Tong is in this podcast. Woo! Happy Mother's Day.
Gigawatt size, like 10 gig, 5 gig, some
10
are even
gigawatts.
bigger.
Wow.
Yeah.
When they get that big, it's like, how do you know if it's one or two projects? There's benefits and drawbacks to everything. It would be nice if we did have more manufacturing here, but it's also, we need to install solar, like you were saying, and as fast as we can, because the planet needs it. And solar has also become the least expensive energy in the world.
SNEC conference is a combination of scientific sector as well as the industrial applications.
The only way to see it in one view, like to take a picture of the whole thing, would be from space. Hello and welcome to Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. Today's episode, we're going to talk about something called SNEC. Do you know what SNEC is? We're going to find out from two of the most SNEC people on the planet here. We have Qun Wang and Jenny Tong from SNEC. How's it going?
Hi, hello everyone. This is Qun from SNEC team. Very happy to meet you all.
This is Jenny. Great to meet you all.
Great, yeah. And so I've been to SNEC a bunch of times over the years. I haven't been there as much in the last couple of years, but it is the biggest solar storage, renewable energy. I would think you could call it like a trade show, a conference, an expo in the world by far. And it's kind of funny because the person that came up with SNEC is Jenny's mom, Madam Me. And I met her before SNEC was a big thing. And so I've got to see this SNEC conference grow like crazy. And there's lots of different SNECs and things out there. This is the big one that's coming up. And I'll let you tell me what the days are that SNEC's going to be.
So SNEC is going to be next month, June 11th to June 13th, 2025, this year at Shanghai in the Tong Exhibition Center.
So everybody's going to go to Shanghai, and it's a crazy amount of people. So how many people?
Yeah, it's 500,000 for the professional attendees. It's true, the number is going to be even more than that. Sometimes it's 700,000, depending on the day. Usually on the first day, it will be a lot of people. And then as the day goes, we have 3 days in a row for the exhibition and the 2 days starting before the exhibition for the conference.
So I wish I could make just $1 for each person. Can we arrange something like that? 500,000?
No, as long as you go to register, you can get the ticket for free, not even for $1. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I remember that too, that I went before and the ticket was free.
Yeah.
And how do you manage 500,000 people?
Let's ask Trin.
Good question. Actually, as for the venue, now SNEC is located at the largest venue in China. And I might think that it's also the largest one in Asia region as well. So the total square meters for the venue is over 380,000 square meters of exhibiting space in total. So the venue area is quite huge. You know, as Shanghai is an international city, quite popular for foreigners as well. So for the facilities in Shanghai, so it's very easy and convenient to welcome all the people from the world. So I think it's easy. Shanghai is a very modern city which welcome all the foreigners every day. And so all the facilities and infrastructures in Shanghai is very convenient for all the people from the world. I think it's quite convenient for the visitors and also exhibitors of SNEC show.
Yeah, when I go to SNEC, I always see people that I know from all the different continents. Like I already have meetings set up with people from Panama, and I'm sure I'm going to see all my friends from Europe there and people from Australia and different countries in Asia and the Philippines and all that. So it's pretty neat. I remember like one time when we had SNEC, they did some fun things. Like we took a bus and we went to the Pearl, which is that famous thing on the skyline that's kind of round and up in the air. And another time we went on a river cruise. And Shanghai's pretty neat. It's got a lot of like colonial style architecture, a lot of modern architecture, a lot of like modern restaurants from all over the world. It's a pretty neat. In fact, I'm taking my mom. And so she's going to get to see Shanghai, which is pretty neat. I've been there a bunch of times too. And of course, you know that my girlfriend's from Shanghai too. So she's going to be there visiting her parents. But yeah, there's a lot to do there. It's pretty neat. And then another thing that's kind of interesting is the people that edit this video, they're like my team, and they're going to come too. So we're going to do some team building there.
It's very exciting.
I have like 4 people that come with us that do work for me. And so that's going to be kind of neat to have everybody there. And I guess another thing is you're going to have a stage for me.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to have a training stage for you, specifically for you to have a 2 days training program. So maybe you can introduce a little bit about the training courses that you would like to present during SNEC this year.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm going to talk about solar and storage on different levels. I haven't fully put the program together yet, but you know, we can start off covering the basics and then get more advanced as time goes on. And also there'll probably be questions, and we'll do questions and answers, and it'll be great. Do you know where it is already, like in the conference area?
It will be set up at the exhibition show floor so that it will be more easier to attract exhibitors and visitors.
Yeah, and I remember we did that before too. I think it was 2019. I'm pretty sure it was 2019 at that SNEC. So thank you.
Yeah, it's before the pandemic.
Yeah. Thanks for having the stage for me at the SNEC. It's just so exciting to see something that's so big and to see the industry like so strong. And then another thing too, for people that are not used to going to trade shows in China, like a lot of people that I know just go to different conferences, exhibitions in the United States, is there's different things that people are showing there that you don't see here. So you still see all the PV modules, the inverters, and all those kinds of booths, but you'll see a lot more to do with manufacturing and like how to make solar cells and silver paste and crucibles and things like that. I remember I think it was around the time, somewhere around like 2009, I was speaking at a conference in Beijing. And I met this guy who's still a good friend of mine, Nick Yuan, and he took me, it was kind of crazy. It was like to all these different solar conferences. There was like a solar conference, it seemed like every day. And that was kind of early in the conference business. And then, so I guess what happened now is SNEC won the game. So congratulations.
Thank you, Sean. Actually, I also know Nick Yuan, who worked for PV Magazine. Is that so?
Yeah, that's him.
I know him. I know him.
Oh, good.
And yeah, back to the year of 2009, I think it was the 3rd edition of SNEC. But this year, SNEC is going to have its 18th edition. So that's more than 10 years.
Oh, great. Okay,
yeah,
good.
So actually, in the year of 2012, SNEC had grew up to be the largest PV trade show in the world, and it keeps, as the biggest one in the world since that year. So it's also been more than 10 years already. So you are
as being the biggest in the world.
Yeah. So for more than 10 years.
And I know that you are working very hard making that happen. So a lot of it has to do with you, Trine.
Thank you, but it's a teamwork. It's team efforts, which makes SNEC successful.
Yep. And so just for people that are interested in going, that are from a lot of different countries, like I'm from the US, and people from I think most of Europe and probably Australia, things like that, is there's different ways to go to China. And they recently started doing these 10-day, or they call it 240-hour, so 24 times 10, 240-hour transit visas. And so that's how I'm going to go there. My 10-year visa finally expired last year. And so all you have to do is stop by another country on your way there. So just even a stopover, or on your way back. So it could just be a stopover. So on my way back, I'm going to do a 23-hour stopover in Tokyo. And so I'll just go spend the night in Tokyo. And another thing, a lot of countries don't charge you the airport tax if you go for less than 24 hours. So that's why I'm going to do like a 23-hour trip. So if people want to come and they don't want to have the hassle of going to get a visa, then you can just do this. And there's certain airports, you probably can't go fly into some little small airport somewhere. But of course, the big airports in Shanghai work because I checked both of them. In fact, I'm flying into PVG and I'm flying out of the other one that I've never flown out of before. And another thing that's kind of neat too about going there is to get into the middle of Shanghai from the airport, there's a maglev. And I know the locals usually just take a car because they're not as impressed as I am. But you're like riding on magnets, something like 300 kilometers per hour, going from the airport to the middle of Shanghai. One more thing too is before when I went, the conference was at, I think it was a conference center called SNEIC. Is that?
Yeah.
And you changed the conference center. So this one's bigger. It's hard for me to believe that anything could be bigger than that conference center. It's like you could probably land a large airplane in the courtyard in the middle of it. So
It's 2 times bigger than the SNEIC. The new one is
wow.
located in another area that is centered to the economy between Shanghai and other areas near Shanghai. So it's very convenient for other people from the nearby area to transit in between. And for Hongqiao and ECC, this time it's Hongqiao Exhibition Center. The English abbreviation is NECC. So hopefully people don't get confused with the convention center change. It's over 40,000 square meters, 400
380,000 square meters actually.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
388, yeah.
And also that National Exhibition and Convention Center is located very near to the Hongqiao Airport and the Hongqiao train station. So it means apart from the maglev train that you mentioned, the maglev train is between the Pudong International Airport to the Longyang Road Metro Station, which is used when we were located in the Pudong venue. But now the Hongqiao venue is also very convenient for people to be here because it's also near the Hongqiao Airport and also the Hongqiao train station. So the Hongqiao train station is the largest train station in Shanghai for all the high-speed trains. So currently, the high-speed trains in China, the speed per hour is already reached to 400 kilometers
Wow.
per hour. So yeah, it's also quite convenient for all the people who are traveling by trains.
Wow. 400?
Yeah,
Is that like
almost,
faster than the maglev?
Yeah, the highest speed can
Wow.
reach
Yes.
that. But
Yes.
normally it's between 200 and 300.
Wow, that is fast. I remember going on those bullet trains too when I was there, and it was kind of strange. The track is so smooth that you just look out at the other tracks and it looks like they're not moving because you're just moving so fast and the track looks smooth. So I didn't realize that the bullet trains went that fast. I remember I went to a couple of solar factories a while back and I took the bullet trains and it was really nice. It's like better than an airplane seat and you just get on there and you're there pretty quick. I know that the people that are working for me that are editing this video, they're going to go take the bullet train over to Beijing to see the Great Wall and all the historical stuff there.
Yeah, the
take
shortest
4
time
hours.
if we would like to travel from Shanghai to Beijing it will only take 4.5 hours.
So why don't we have a bullet train like that in California? I'm just kidding. That's California politics. I don't want to get into that. But, and I think too, like you hear about, California politics or any kind of politics, it's good that we hang out and become friends and meet people on the other side of the world. And that's what makes the world go round. And it just makes everything better when people become friends with all different cultures. And there's a lot of different cultures in Shanghai too. Like I know that there's people from all over the world that live there. And
Yeah.
even lots of Americans. I mean, it's a super international city. There's like buildings go up really fast. Things get built really fast. And it's got a great skyline. And it's kind of easy to get around without speaking Chinese. Like I know a couple of words like thank you and hello. Ni hao, xie xie. That's all you need to know, everybody. And the street signs are in English. You have apps. You can call a car. It's very reasonably priced. sometimes I would even have friends just like they would text me something, and like my phone works there for texting, or everybody has like WeChat. And so it's just an app like WhatsApp or something like that, as far as like what most people think, but I'm sure it does different things. And they'll send me a message, and then they'll have the directions in Chinese, and I just show it to the taxi driver, or sometimes I'll just have it on a map, and I'll just have my map app there, and I'll point at something and somebody will just take me there. It's kind of fun to get around in different places where you don't speak the language, and it's like, it's not that scary. For some people think it's scary. Another thing too is it's not just the exhibition. There's like a scientific conference, and there's like the top people in the world, like Martin Green, a guy that invented a lot of the stuff to do with solar cells and things like that. And they're giving lots of presentations. And maybe, do you want to say a little bit about that?
Yes, definitely, Sean. Actually, SNEC conference is a combination of scientific sector as well as the industrial applications, actually. So with regard to the world top scientists, such as Professor Martin Green from Australia and Professor Ike Weber from Germany, and
Ike's a friend of mine. Yep.
yeah, Dr. Pierre Wellington, he is also from Germany. And apart from this year, we also invited some scientists from Japan, Professor Kondo from Waseda University, and Dr. Qun Wang from the Korea Institute of Energy Research, and Professor Turan from the Middle East Technology University Solar Energy Research and Application Center. And so those worldwide scientists will all come to SNEC. But every year, actually, we have some, familiar faces, but every year we are going to welcome some new faces, actually. Also, the scientists are, a little bit changing every year. But Professor Martin Green and Professor Aki Weber, those, quite familiar faces for all the industry people. And apart from this, and this year, we also invited Mr. Eric Solheim, who is a former United Nations Under Secretary General. And also, we are also inviting the Premier of Sarawak of Malaysia. And he is going to head a high-level delegation from the Sarawak government to visit the trade show. And also, we are going to also welcome a high-level delegation from the unit. It's the United Nations Industrial Development Organization as well.
Great. And I know sitting through some of those conferences too, it's good for learning. And they talk about everything from development of back sheets to the glass that goes in the solar cell to, like, I remember one time there was somebody doing a presentation and they figured out that there were some PV module connectors that were generating 50 watts of heat, which is not right. And most PV modules don't do that. But it's just the kind of thing that you see there. And of course, like, you were talking about Martin Green developing a lot of the technology that everybody uses for their crystalline silicon solar cells, and even some of the more forward going things. And then another thing is there are like banquets, like big dinners that are sponsored. And I know you can't fit 500,000 people into a banquet, or can you?
Yeah, we can. We can definitely. Actually, there are several gala dinners during SNEC every year. So the first one is GCL night on the night of June the 10th. So it will attract about 500 people. But on the night of 11th, there is also a gala dinner sponsored by Huawei. That gala dinner is a little bit larger, as it will attract about 700 people. But this year, we also will present a new open bar of SNEC on the night of 11th. It will be attracting about 2,000 to 3,000 people from all the exhibitors and visitors. So it will be a reception and an open bar with all the drinks and finger food.
Great, great.
Yeah, it's a more Western style open bar. Yeah, new networking event at SNEC.
Great. Yeah. And I know there's like awards and all kinds of things that are happening.
Yeah, there are different kinds of awards which will be presented during SNEC. So traditionally, we are still going to have SNEC Top 10 Highlights Award, which is open to all the exhibitors. But apart from this, so APVI Awards returns after 2 years because APVI Awards is presented every 2 years. So the last edition was in the year of 2023. And this year, the APVI Awards is going to have its seventh edition as well. And apart from these two awards, we are going to have maybe two new, not kind of awards, but kind of listing, such as the Global New Energy ESG Top 100 listing and the Global New Energy Brands Top 10 listing.
Great. Awesome. And then another thing too is like inside the middle of the convention center is a nice hotel. And that's where I'm going to stay. And there's lots of other hotels around.
Yeah, Intercontinental.
Yeah, the Intercontinental. Yeah. And I'm excited about staying there. And then there's other hotels nearby too.
Yes, definitely.
Great.
Yes, the Hongqiao area is very, convenient CBD area as well, with all the big brands of hotels such as Shangri-La and Hilton. So yeah, you will find all the international hotels as well in that area. So it's quite convenient.
Some of the solar companies' headquarters are there as well. They're building the headquarters there.
Yeah, definitely, such as China Solar, Jinko, Sungrow. Sungrow has also purchased some buildings in that area.
Mm-hmm. Great. And then, I know too, how far is the location from the river and Nanjing Road, all those places? We interrupt you for a very important announcement. Shaun White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast has been brought to you by Shaun White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. That's right, Shaun White is sponsoring his own podcast, and he wants to remind you to go check out some of his classes. You can go to SolarSean, that's solar, SEAN.com, and then click on the links to check out his classes. You can check out his heat spring classes, and you can also hire him to teach classes for you, like at your company, something like that. Now back to the show.
I think if you're non-traffic, not the peak time, if you go, you take a cab or a taxi, it was just going to be like 30 to 40 minutes, depending on traffic. Usually within an hour, you can reach the tourist sightseeing places, such as the ones you mentioned.
What about the train? Then you don't have to worry about traffic. Yeah.
The train is for if you're going to outside, not inside, not within Shanghai, but like if you're going to nearby cities like Suzhou or Nanjing. I think Nanjing is a lot of the popular destination many foreigners choose to go because of its historical, nature or its origin, such places in China. So if you want to go from the station to Nanjing, it's going to be only like 30 minutes ride. So
30 minutes to Nanjing.
Yeah, 30 minutes from the station, exactly where the venue is. So it's
Nanjing. So it's quicker to get to Nanjing than the river.
30 minutes to Suzhou, 1 hour to Nanjing, sorry. So it's very quick, very, very convenient. So if you want to go by or go around, see something else after the show ending or before the show.
Yeah, and also 1 hour to Hangzhou as well.
Oh, great.
By the high-speed train.
And then there's there's some other places I've been there in Shanghai. Yu Garden, that's a popular spot to go and get some dumplings over there. It's a good place for dumplings.
Xiaolongbao. So if you're interested in, some of the architecture side of, traditional Chinese style, you can choose to go to Yu Garden. It's pretty much like a garden hundreds years ago where people live. It has really nice, it's really good for seeing things and eating dumplings, as you said.
Yeah, it was really neat. Probably going back hundreds of years in time. Really popular place to go. Another place that I stayed in Shanghai was called the Astor House Hotel. And I stayed in the room that Albert Einstein was staying in when he got the letter that he won the Nobel Prize. I think he didn't get the letter until it was like 1921 or 22, something like that. Even though he wrote the paper a lot earlier than that, it took a while. They had to make sure that he was really smart, not just making that stuff up. And then also my team is going to go to Disneyland for some of their bonding. So they have a Disneyland there. I don't know how many Disneylands they have. They have like Disneyland, California, Disney World, Florida. I think they have one in Paris, Japan,
In Tokyo, yeah.
Shanghai, and there's probably other ones. I don't know, but
Yeah, I think that's about in Disneyland. There are
yeah.
not so many, basically, these
Yeah.
destinations.
I'm not sure the Shanghai Disneyland is the largest or not. Jenny, you know?
No, not the largest. I don't know if it's
Uh,
the largest too, but it's the newest.
I know the one in Florida is pretty big. It's like,
Pretty
but
large,
they call it
yeah.
Disney
yeah, the
World. But
biggest.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that the one in Florida might be the biggest.
it's like they have their
Mm.
own city and they have like Epcot Center and
Or lands.
all kinds of different stuff there. And I remember hearing a story about the first SNEC. I wasn't at the first SNEC, but some people were telling me about it. And there was like this little place and there's people on the sidewalk. Neither of you were there, were you?
I was not there.
Okay.
I
No,
joined
definitely
SNEC
not for
since the
me.
third edition.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, so for the first two editions, I was not within the team.
Great, great. And there's a lot of other stuff too besides solar. So there's like energy storage systems, electric vehicles, hydrogen. And I know that I think what SNEC got so big, it could be bigger than the biggest conference and exhibition center in the world. So what do? And then they have like a separate energy storage SNEC. And actually, Jenny and myself and Madame E did a podcast on that. If people want to, they can look it up. We'll put it in the notes. Another thing is that SNEC works and coordinates with like the people that make RE+. In fact,
Yes.
Jenny used to work for them. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a Mexico program with RE Plus together in Mexico if you want to go to see that event as well. It's usually in the March of each year. It's the local event for the industry people to convene and see everything and talk about the market there.
Great. And I think, was there something about like Cape Town, South Africa that,
Yeah,
Cape Town,
there was
South Africa. There was one
event.
edition.
yeah.
We have different times and different events at some different places. I think we are going to do something in South Africa in the future as well,
Great.
in Cape Town.
Great. It's a beautiful place, Cape Town. All right. So let's see. Is there other things that we didn't cover that you want to cover?
How do you see about the tariff issue right now in terms of renewable energy in the United States?
Mm-hmm.
How's that affecting everyone, solar and other renewable
Yeah. Oh,
energy
yeah.
places?
Everybody loves tariffs, don't they? No. Yeah. I was afraid to bring up politics, but
Oh, okay.
no, I just didn't know if it was polite to bring it up with you. But yeah, of course, people don't like to pay extra for things, you know? And so, like, there's a lot of people that don't like all of these tariffs, and it costs more money to buy solar modules. And another thing that's a problem with the tariffs is they keep changing. So people want to make an investment and grow their business, but they don't know what the tariffs are going to be next week or tomorrow or next month. And it makes it more difficult to make long range forecasts and make plans. You know, you need to know what it's going to be before you can make a business decision. And so
Solar products is not exempted from the tariff. As of now, it's not exempted because that is what I heard is that it could be option to exempt solar products from one of the, those tariffs.
yeah, and it's like it changes every day. It seems like.
Okay. Yeah, that is hard.
Yeah, so it's hard to keep up with it, but I'm sure that you are. Do you want to say more about it yourself or what your views are? We could talk about it.
I hope this situation can be de-escalating somehow because it's going to be disaster for everyone in this business now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's one of the biggest, or like a lot of people really cares about how this is going for everyone and the trade war and how to see how this will go and how this will affect the climate change because, US is a very important market as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy how all this tariff stuff happens and it just changes so much and you don't know what's going to do. Like even people trying to build factories in the US.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
can't
that's
make they can't make long-term
mhm.
plans either, because if there are a lot of tariffs, they might invest more money into their factory, but then they know that the next week it's going to change. And so it's just hard to make business decisions all around for everyone. And we just need to get out there and install more solar. And then even when people are buying solar, they're like, oh, it's made in America. A lot of times it just means assembled in America. So where are people going to get their wafers and their silicon and all that kind of stuff? There's a lot of things you can't even get in the US.
So as of now, most of the people are building modules in the States, assemble them in the States. Is how is the manufacturing side going for solar in the States?
Yeah, I've had a couple of different companies on my podcast, and I'm sure you probably know of them. There's a company that Dr. She started, Bila Solar, and they have a factory in Indiana. And I went to their factory in Indiana, and Mick showed me around, and he's been on my podcast. And they are going to be getting some cells from ES Foundry, which is a company it's all just in the beginning. It's like as far as, producing the cells and the modules and all that kind of stuff. But they're tuning up their machines and things like that. And even they were having some trouble because their machines, where do they get them from? They get them from China. And then,
Yeah. So you have to go to SNEC to go
yeah,
get the machines.
yeah. And so
I
they're trying,
mean,
yeah. And so
mhm.
they're trying to
I
get the
mean the
machines.
equipment, right? The
Yeah.
equipment for producing the solar cells and the solar
Hmm.
wafers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like, if they want to really ramp up, should they buy the machine now, or should they buy
Mm.
it next month? Or are they not going to be
Yeah.
able to buy it next month? And he was having some trouble with that too.
Yeah,
So,
it's very bad for the decision making if it's on and off, on and off.
yeah.
Of course, very bad.
Yeah. But I mean, there's benefits and drawbacks to everything. It would be nice if we did have more manufacturing here, but it's also, we need to install solar, like you were saying, and as fast as we can, because the planet needs it. And solar has also become the least expensive energy in the world. And why is that? It's because of how people have been manufacturing it, thanks to you,
At the
thanks to
cost,
SNEC and all the scientific conferences.
yeah. I think a lot of the scientists there really makes it possible to make the cost really low for everyone to use solar as the energy. The energy right now, it's totally more cheaper than the traditional energy cost right now, at
Yeah.
least in China. I'm not sure about other wheres, but
Yeah, I mean, like where there's sun and there's sun everywhere, the solar energy is less expensive than other forms of energy.
mm,
In fact, if you even look at what's happening here in the US, and you see like the president was like campaigning hard for coal and talking down about different types of, like wind, for instance. And still, their solar is growing like crazy, and nobody's building any coal plants because financially, that's what works.
so, how about the installing business? So, I know that there's a large need for installing solar in the United States. Is there a shortage of workers or like trained installers to work for, installing the solar on the roof?
They call it the solar coaster. I'm sure you've probably heard that term, where it goes up and down. And here we have lots of different states, and states are like independent governments where they have different rules and things like that. And so California has always been the biggest market in the United States until, I don't know, maybe some in the last 5 years, it's been changing fast. And then they brought on in California what they call NEM 3.0. I'm not sure if you heard of it, but they made a big sudden change. And I think that sudden changes are the worst thing for the industry. Sort of like what we were talking with the tariffs, like changing like every day. It's unhealthy to make sudden changes like that. Like changes should be gradual. It's good for business. It's good for making decisions. And so they completely changed net metering. So one day you could get full credit for exporting, and the next day you couldn't. And you get very little credit for exporting. And so it didn't give the industry time to adjust. Everybody was working extra hard before that change happened. And then they had to lay off something like 15,000 people or so, something like that. And they'll get their jobs back as solar gets less expensive, energy storage gets less expensive, electricity gets more expensive, but it's not good. It's like it shocks the industry. There's been bankruptcies and things like that. And I'm just talking about, mostly California, but California has been such a big market. I'm sure that probably has something to do with, like, say, the very well known of SunPower bankruptcy, that SunPower had to close shop. And solar's growing in different ways in different places. And so there's a lot of people still busy with utility scale solar. And then even if you look at all those layoffs, all you have to do is go back maybe a couple of years, 2 years or something like that. And then you have the same amount of jobs as you had a couple of years ago. But then there's this like big, hiring of people and then laying off of people. And it's just not healthy for the people, the workers, the economy, and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of that has to do with the politics and campaign contributions, all that kind of stuff. And then there's other states where solar's growing more. So like, it's kind of interesting that Texas is the number one solar market in the United States right now. And then Florida is up there close to California. I'm not sure who's two right now because it's, things change really fast. Solar's going strong. Energy storage is getting less expensive. It is growing. It's just there's growing pains. It's like one of those things too is like, even if you see some kind of like stock or commodity or anything like that, when it grows really fast, there's going to be ups and downs, like sudden ups and downs. Like you might see like something lose value and then gain value. And there almost has to be some volatility for something to grow really fast. And that's where the solar coaster comes from.
Thank you for sharing this with me.
Yeah. But sure, there's lots of jobs in solar. There's lots of engineering jobs, design jobs, installation jobs, electrician jobs. There's always people asking me, like, where can I find a solar installer? Where can I find an electrician? There's really important jobs. And I don't want people to get scared away, too, when I said, like, there's something like 15,000 jobs. Sounds like a big number. California's a big state. Like all those people were hired on shortly before that incentive ended, or, like net metering pretty much ended. And then it's going to take us some time to get back to it. And it seems that the Public Utilities Commission, and perhaps, and they're appointed by the governor, is, doing what the utility wants instead of people that want to have rooftop solar. And then also, of course, utility scale solar is, the big solar is most of the solar in the world by far. In the United States, it's 2/3 is utility scale. And I imagine, I don't know if you know what the numbers are for China, but I'm sure utility scale is probably a lot more bigger piece of the pie than 2/3 even, I would just imagine, if I had to guess.
Tring, do you know? Only she doesn't know as well. Yeah, for China, it should be bigger than that, but I don't know how much bigger of a percentage for the utility, but it's definitely more than other kinds of solar, such as rooftop residential.
Yeah, and people see rooftop solar because it's like, hey, it's my neighbor's got it. It's on this building. I can buy it. There's people trying to sell it to me. And people don't see the utility scale solar because it's out in a field somewhere and it's not in a place where people, go, not where they look at it. You see it from airplanes though. Like I've probably seen as much solar as installed in years on rooftops and just like one short flight going from like San Francisco to Phoenix or something like that. Just look out the window and see just many gigawatts out there. So do you know how big are some of these solar projects in China now? Are they like
Gigawatt size, like 10 gig, 5 gig, some are
10
even
gigawatts?
bigger.
Wow.
Yeah.
When they get that big, it's like, how do you know if it's one or two projects? Because like 10 gigawatts, that's huge.
Is it the largest one?
Because then it'll be like on two
A lot of
different
the
sides of a
biggest one are
freeway.
in
Or,
the
yeah.
western.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, like I cannot imagine how big from it. It's just the land is full of the solar panels where
Mhm.
it's connected to the grid. Yeah, they're throwing a very ambitious goals for growing solar in China. Obviously, they want to grow each year, maybe some more to reach the climate change, the goal for 2030.
Mhm.
So they definitely is on track for that goal. So every year they're installing gigawatts of,
Mhm.
more plants.
Yeah, I remember like talking to people at SNEC about like what the projects they're working on. And it's like, they're like, how much did you install? It's like, oh, I only did a gigawatt. I've only done a gigawatt. You know, like they're embarrassed that it's only a gigawatt. Like a gigawatt is huge. It's like a gigawatt is how much solar was in the whole world in the year 2000. Some people are like, oh, you know, I did 5 gigawatts this year, like the manager of some company or something like that. And this one guy was showing us pictures. It looked like a control tower at an international airport where they could like get up there and stand and look at their solar arrays so they can keep an eye on them. But it's just like
Where
miles.
is the tower?
I don't know. It was just when we were at SNEC, just like we were sitting at a table next to somebody at one of the dinners, and they were showing us like on their phone, like different pictures from their solar plant. And there's like some solar plant had like a control tower almost, you know, just like they get up there and they can see what's going on with all those projects. I'd like to go see some of those 10 gigawatt solar plants.
Yeah. Sure. If you come to Shanghai, we can probably talk to some, you know, EPC or like some plants, the owner of the plant, the owner of the solar projects, and you can get to go and see the biggest plants there. Most of them are located like in the western area. I think where LongGeek headquarters are, those places have the biggest ones in China.
Wow. Let's do it. Okay, it's a deal.
It's a deal.
Yeah. The only problem is it's so big. The only way to see it in one view, like to take a picture of the whole thing, would be from space.
When I was like driving, you just see these solar panels. Like it's not gonna end for like 10 minutes or I don't know like how long. Like I was just driving on the road at I don't know how fast I was driving, but you can just see these plants and then it's just going crazy and it's never ending. So that's how big. I feel it's a very big one.
Yeah, I saw a 1 gigawatt in Dubai, and it was like, it's just hard to believe that things could be bigger than that. And then they had another gigawatt right next to it. It's just like gigawatts are huge. Yeah. Well, pretty good. I can't wait to go to the SNEC conference. And I think, Jenny, I'm going to see you in Germany over at, we used to call it Intersolar, and now Intersolar is part of the Smarter E. So you could still say Intersolar, but it's more than solar, just like SNEC is. And so there's also going to be, you know, cars and batteries and all that kind of stuff. So I look forward to seeing you there. And thanks
look forward to seeing
so
you
much.
There too.
Thanks, Trine.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. But maybe one last note. Nowadays in China, digital payments are very popular. So maybe some foreigners will not be used to it because especially in Shanghai, we don't, you know, bring cash with us for shopping and outside. So for all the payments nowadays, we only need a mobile with all the Alipay or WeChat Pay.
So how can somebody like me get set up for that besides just asking you to send me some money?
Yeah, definitely. I think Alipay has got an international version. Maybe you can try to download Alipay first and then try to, you know, set up within the app.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it's not going to be that difficult. I think I was reading somewhere too where like somebody like me can go put their credit card and make their credit card.
Yeah, credit card is also acceptable. Yeah.
Oh, credit card purchases work. Oh, well, that's not a problem at all for anybody. Most people, I mean, even most people here don't really use cash. Like they're using just their credit cards. So we could just bring our credit cards. And if you have any $100 bills, you just give them to me. Everybody can just give them to me, right?
Yeah.
I'll be collecting them. All right. Well, great. I look forward to seeing both of you over in SNEC coming up on...
Yeah, the conference opens on the 10th of June until the 12th of June. And the exhibition is from the 11th of June until the 13th. So
pretty much the 10th through the 13th, there's stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then if you want to stay longer, you can go to Great Wall or Disneyland. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Trine Wang and Jenny Tong. Thanks for listening
to
Shanghai's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. That was fun. Thank you so much. Woohoo!
Thank you.